Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So you're probably thinking what I'm thinking, where is the LUNC content? And honestly, going and looking for LUNC content is looking for a needle in a haystack. Instead, we're looking for a needle in a needle stack. It's a really interesting situation because there's just honestly not a great deal going on. And I have been warning about this aping into any development team that's willing to more or less work and just kind of accepting that the outcome of that is going to be bullish. We've got 15 days until BTC halves, and this chain has no real heading, no real direction. It doesn't have its own DEX. It doesn't have its own tools, although we've got our own wallet infrastructure now for you guys that will more or less just be chain owned assets that you'll never have to pay for and they'll always be there for you regardless. So you'll always be able to interconnect with our wallet system to access your LUNC, your USTC, your NFTs, anything to do with the chain. You'd be able to do it there. Now, going back to the kind of idea that not a lot is going on, there's loads going on, right? But honestly, every direction that I look in, there is scam CXs offering burns, people aping into that, not doing their research. I see people double noding. I see people triple noding. I see people network noding. I see certain people backing meme coins that are coming from people who spent time doxing lots of people on this chain. And once again, right, we're in a position where all of the narrative have put so much effort into more or less pushing this chain down that you're not hearing from them anymore because the ulterior situation that's currently going on is they don't need to do anything because everybody's double noding, triple noding, network noding. You've got meme coins popping up. In effect, people are doing the job for them at this point, and it's kind of sad to see. But honestly, what everybody needs to understand is this could all change, and I think change needs to come in the form of a few different things. A COC, not a community oversight committee. God, never that ever again, please. A code of conduct, a constitution, call it whatever you want to call it, but not a guideline, a rule set, an actual set of rules that validators have to abide by. And it's as simple as that, because it's getting to a point where everybody's accepting the situation. Well, if I can't beat them, I'll join them. And I'll just get involved with all of this different stuff. And then it just becomes a very capitalized situation where the chain's just not prospering. The chain is actually suffering very badly from outflows. Something I'm seeing, which is really, really sad, is somebody's taking the idea of Mint Cash and doing that for LUNC. So what they're going to be doing is offering people the opportunity to burn their LUNC to get a new coin for a new network, which is supposed to be similar to this. And that's a huge risk. I myself never look at someone that's small, someone that's very, very low down, so to speak. They've not got a lot of following. They haven't got a social media presence, and they've got a really good idea like that. I worry about that because those are the kind of people that will come up and take everybody by surprise. And I guess nobody wants to see that currently on chain. So if we go and we just have a look, there's just nothing going on. And the chain's got a lot of assets, right? We've got a lot of assets building up. We've got a lot in the community pool. But once again, if we go to crypto news, and it's the same thing every month, everybody is kind of just reliant on Binance to burn through coins. They're reliant on a couple of different people to more or less do all of the length work, whilst many other people are double, triple noding, conceding to the idea of, if I can't beat them, I'll join them. I'm not going to be doing that, and I hope a lot of other people aren't going to do that. And some people are going to try to get behind this code of conduct. What I tried to do was get a podcast together, but the biggest issue is, I'm not going to name any names, trying to get anybody to come and speak about the double, triple noding or the network situation is near to impossible because so many people want to remain friendly, and I get it. They're treating things like a business, and that's just the way the cookie crumbles in that situation. So you're going to do what is best for you in that situation, and you're not going to put yourself in a situation where you're more or less going to be pitching yourself against people that you're working with. So we're kind of in a very precarious situation. Now, moving over to LUNC Dash, let's take a look at the community pool, right? We're almost at 5 billion, but the blockchain in itself has rejected the L1 team. They've rejected the LUNC development team. So you've got two teams that are idle on standby, doing absolutely nothing, when one of them could be working on tax to gas and the L1 could be working on a DEX. because that's what this chain really needs. It needs a DEX. It needs to remove the gap in the market. And we've created a substantial gap in our own market. Now, if we go and we look at blockchains like VSG, OPXH, right? They are making sure they've launched with their own DEX, their own swappers, their own tools. And we are a huge blockchain we don't have that. And so many people benefit from that gap in the market that if we shut it down, right, and we get something brought forward and we get it put in place, it would be very bullish for this blockchain to have the news break that it's getting its own DEX, it's getting its own swapping systems, and they're going to turn back on the market module. All of this stuff's possible, right? But ultimately, what we have is a very greed-based situation now where it's been made entirely worse by the DCM, which was supposed to improve the Nakamoto coefficient. Instead, it didn't. It made it worse. It centralized things further, and it put the power of control from the community back to those greedy validators. So we've got all of these issues, right? And all of these wrongs can be rewritten, right? It's governance. You, as the community, have the control to change these things. So what else I would say is we need a big marketing push. Even if you're going to drip drab some USTC payments out or drip drab some LUNC payments out, we should have a marketing pool, which is specifically there, right? So instead of us sitting around like we do idly, waiting for Binance to burn or waiting for somebody to do something, create a developers pool, create a marketing pool, and then get the news out there and say, oh, you're a marketing team. Okay, well, come to us with your idea, propose your idea, and ask for money. And if we think it's a good idea, we think it's a good marketing stunt, a good PR event, then why not ape into it? Why not pay out for it? Because the money is sat there idly doing nothing, and we've got so much of it now. And marketing in this time, like I was saying, there's 15 days until BTC halves. This is the time when you want to start getting the attention of the market, right? Even if we did burn staking, something stupid like that, something that is going to get people to ape into the idea of coming over to Lunar Classic and calling it home and saying to themselves, well, if I buy the cows and I sell the milk, I'm going to prosper more. And that's the way I see the LUNC chain. You buy the coins, that's your cow, you stake them, and then you harvest the milk, being the commission. And you get a good amount of commission on this chain. You get a good amount of LUNC, and you get USTC and a ton of other crap coins, which I think should just be burnt. I think that would be a bullish event in itself, just to clean the chain up, just to get rid of all of the slack and just leave it with the LUNC, the USTC, and whatever other coins come in a certain period of time. So, for example, we've got a lot of clout, a lot of clutter on the chain. You could simply say, well, you need to submit a PR to this GitHub repository in this amount of time for your coin to remain listed and not end up part of the, the big sequence burn. Let's call it a sequence burn. I don't know what a developer would call it. I don't know what kind of system you would need to make up, but we're reaching a point in the LUNC community where it's almost 2 years. Next month, it's going to be 2 years we've all been here involved with this. And once again, right, we've just not seen anything crazy happen, but we've got the funds now. It's not like we're being rinsed by different people offering wallets and things that you already had access to and didn't need, like the endpoints, for example. Right now, because you're not paying for that, you've got a lot of funding. So there's a lot you can do as the LUNC community. And as it boils down to the DCM, that can be changed. The delegations just need to move more over to community-based validators that want the best for this blockchain and don't simply think about themselves and about how it best benefits them. So getting a code of conduct in place is going to be hard, but it's doable. Right? And what you're going to have to do is just fight against these greedy validators like we always have. Nothing's changed. Okay, we've just literally gone full circle. And I mean this, right? Because you've got Genuine Labs, great development team, same with LBA. Great development team, can't shun them. But what is simply happening is what LBA did, where they just provide bug fixes, bug updates, and they open doors and create markets that we can't even prosper and privatize on ourselves as a blockchain. So as they open the gates up, right, to all of these different Cosmos-based chains, we don't have a DEX, we don't have a market module, we don't have nothing. And this is the biggest danger, is once again introducing a huge environment for everybody else to capitalize on, but this blockchain. I think that's all stuff that people need to take in. I think you need to hear it at the moment, because there's no point us ignoring this stuff and act like it's not going on, act like there's not people double noding, act like the DCM isn't causing issues. One of the big kind of pet peevances of mine at the moment was the fact the minimum 5% commission was proposed on Luna. It was accepted, but it was denied on this blockchain. And if you go and you look at the votes and you compare the votes, you can really start to understand just how backwards everything gets. So something I did was put a tweet out, and it was a long tweet, I will admit it. But what I'm going to do is just quickly bring it up in this video and kind of explain shorthanded about the implications, right, of just implementing this rule. It's so complex because you've got network providers like PFC and all nodes, right? So if you're to introduce a rule, you're going to need to make sure it fosters them into it, because it's not them who's the problem. It's those who are more or less renting that infrastructure from them. So the end result of all of this is a situation here like Pete. And this was a really long-winded tweet, so not a lot of people would have seen it. The algorithm wouldn't have picked it up, and then a lot of people wouldn't take the time to read through it. But it's so complex just implementing a simple rule. So you can't just bring forth Tombstone, and we'll talk a little bit more about that quickly. But this is what it's going to end up like. Okay, so Pete initially develops a validator for his project, Pete Swap. Subsequently, he expands his team and to establish Pete Lottery. Following this, he introduces a validator for Pete Lottery. However, Pete's aspirations lead him to venture into Pete's NFTs. To support this new endeavor, he augments his team and launches another validator. Consequently, Pete now possesses 3 validators, whereas ideally he should only have 1. But Pete is smart and hired staff to front run these divisions. And this is what it's going to start boiling down to. And as more people concede to the idea of just running multiple nodes, each time it pushes new validators that are up and coming outside of the active set. Okay, and it just, what will happen is you'll have 100 active validators that are really just run by 20 validators, because everybody's running multiple validators. As you gain more delegations, you can fund these validators and you can get yourself into the active set to make yourself look more appealing. Introducing a rule would not only put pressure on validators themselves, right, but it would actually put pressure on people like all nodes and PFC to not allow validators to rent multiple nodes on the same blockchain through them. And it would be effective, because if you're going through an infrastructure provider, you have to KYC, like you have to give them all of your information for payments and stuff like that. So it's the kind of situation where you can create bottlenecks and you can push this into the shadows. And what I mean by push it into the shadows, we can just use Jesus is Lord as an example. He has Jesus is Lord 1 and 2. He wouldn't be able to do that if there was a rule put in place. Instead, he would have to rely on running in the shadows, as to which it would all be perceived as a negative thing because it's against the rules. So once again, this would all be manual enforcement. There is no way to actively tombstone other validators' nodes, and to introduce such a tool would be very dangerous, because then you introduce the idea of just being able to get everybody to gang up on someone like KuCoin, which would just be horrible. As much as we don't like to see that happening, they're only running 1 validator, right? But that would then introduce a method where we could just go around tombstoning any validator. So it's not something we're able to do. Okay, somebody could design a system, they could design a module, but it's a slippery slope. So this, I don't think, should ever be the case. A code of conduct, a rule set to start with, and then ease that kind of in and put the blockchain in a state where somebody who's double noding, right, would then be seen by external media. So then you would start to see maybe articles saying, oh, well, this validator is actually running multiple validators on the same network, and this is actually against the rule. It's content for them, okay? It's stuff for them to report on, and it's stuff that people click into. So as much as people think that having a manual rule wouldn't make them shut their nodes down, of course not. It's a manual rule. We require them to do it themselves, but it would apply the pressure that's required. And even if it's not enough pressure, It's the beginning, and it's not all us just sort of sitting idly by. So this is a bit longer of a video than I normally like to do, but as I didn't produce any content yesterday, looking for content today, looking left, seeing scams, looking right, seeing scam memes, and then kind of seeing everybody conceding to the idea of double noding, seeing more double nodes pop up. And I'm just sort of here thinking to myself with a big slap in the face, because I love this blockchain. I love the community. I love the technology. This is why I launched all my projects here. This is why I'm still here. What I want everybody to understand is I'm not going anywhere. I've been here from the beginning. I was here before everybody. I was here before LUNC DAO. Okay. And I'm going to be here until we either moon or until we crumble into nothing. I don't think it's going to be the case that we crumble into nothing if we get ourselves in order, if we get a good marketing system going, if we stop allowing the developers to sort of go, well, that's not a very good idea, we shouldn't do it. We should just go for things. We should try things. We should dive into things, and we should just do it, because the amount of times I've been told that, oh, a developer's pool is no different to a community pool, or a marketing pool is no different to that. Yeah, from a developer's point of view, a bank account's a bank account. All right. But just because you've taken a cow and said to me it's a horse does not make it a horse. It's a cow. Okay. So the situation really is we need to do more. Developers need to do more. But what I'm seeing is the conceding, the moving into the motion of screw the blockchain. I'm just going to do what everybody else is doing. And we won't see really good tools like LUNC Dash. We won't see really good wallet infrastructure come up like wallet.lunk dash or the classic.wallet system. We need more ideas like this, but what we need is people to build other cool stuff, other cool things, because all we ever see is people reproduce other people's ideas. And that's why I brought back LUNC Dash, because you all needed it, you all wanted it. And that was the idea of bringing the wallet infrastructure. So for those of you that are and keep asking me about the wallet infrastructure here, okay, this is exactly the same as Terra Station. We don't have a mobile app, but you can use this on your browsers on your mobile phones. And it's wallet infrastructure that's chain owned, and it's for you guys. No one can ever hold it against you. No one can ever use it as a way to get a payment out of you. It's yours, guys. It's yours to use. If TFL shuts down, if everything shuts down, this will still be here. The chain runs off of the 100 validators that are active. Okay. And unless all of those 100 validators go down, the chain is not going to go down. And it's as simple as that. I think we can go down to like 33% of the active set before it even becomes an issue. So this whole tombstoning thing is a big no-no for me. Use LUNC Dash. I've heard MEXC is going KYC. Guys, trade on Margex. There's no KYC required. You've got spot, you've got copy, you've got leverage, you've got all sorts of different things there. You can have your LUNC there as well, and you can learn a lot there as well. We've got the indicator, we've got the Patreon if you're interested in that. One of our most recent alpha calls, if you caught it from the day we put the alpha call out, it was around 2000%. I mean, what more is there to want from alpha calls in this kind of environment? Other than that, guys, sorry for the longer video, sorry for the rant, sorry for going on about this stuff. We need to talk about it. We need to get it out there, and we need to raise awareness. It's going to be really important you go out, you share this video, you talk to people about this, and don't concede to the idea of, oh, just because they're doing it, we should do it. Let's push forward. Let's be the mature ones, and let's keep this chain alive, decentralized, greed-free, and stop people from capitalizing on those gaps that are being created in the market by this blockchain specifically. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.